Hi, Stephen. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks, Gilbert. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for joining us here. Maybe you can start off by just telling us a bit about the background of Romios Gold.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the team just under a year ago, and Romeo's has a storied history. It's actually been around for 27 years. Our founder, Tom Drivas, has done an extraordinary job of collecting world-class assets in very significant mining jurisdictions around the world, across North America. Apologies. So, we have operations and claims blocks in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. We have a significant land package in northwestern Ontario surrounding the Musselwhite mine, Newmont's Musselwhite mine. And we have two significant assets in Nevada. So with that, we have to decide where to focus. And when I was brought on board, my job was to decide how best to narrow our focus for the company and bring value to our market, and decide how best to spend our very valuable dollars that we have in the bank. So it's I feel like I've adopted an extraordinary situation with these assets being exceptional. We probably couldn't pull these together in a junior in today's market. The fact that some of these assets have been on our books for over 20 years is the only reason why we have such a large land package in each of these jurisdictions.
Great to hear. So I know, from the information, you have different projects, as you said, in different places in North America. So
Yes.
in BC, in Ontario, Quebec, Nevada. So which one now you figure out is your main focus, and why?
I've decided to really focus on Nevada. I mean, Nevada is one of those jurisdictions in the world that everyone is paying attention to. They're the fourth largest gold producer in the world now. They have a very supportive government legislative situation where they support the mining industry at large, and assets are available that have the potential of being very exciting. In fact, we just acquired a new claim block called the Kincade project, and we did that in November. And I hope to give a chance to tell you a little bit about it today. It's extraordinary what we're finding. And we have a former producing mine site called the SCOSA. It's been on our books since 1999. So we need to do some real work. But I think that the potential that Nevada presents for us is extraordinary. And it's also something that we have access to year round. With the other two assets that we have, specifically in the Golden Triangle, our window of opportunity to do on the ground work is quite narrow. The summertime, right now we have a team that's landed in the Golden Triangle at our assets to do some work at Trek South and Trek North, which are Copper Gold Porphyry targets. But there's still snow on the ground, and here we are in July. So that timeline, the time window is quite narrow, and we anticipate getting some great work done there. Same thing in Ontario. It's not in the case of BC, it's helicopter supported. In the case of Ontario, it's floatplane supported. So the costs associated with these types of work programs are quite significant in comparison to being able to drive your truck and your materials straight to the site in Nevada. So I think Nevada will be the focus for us for the foreseeable future. And for the other two groups of assets, BC and in Ontario, I anticipate either finding strong partners to move them forward, or else I'm going to spin them out and they'll find a life of their own in a sister company.
Great. And you mentioned about Kincade, right? So let's talk about some of the recent developments. You
Sure.
announced some assay results recently for Kincade. So maybe you can elaborate a bit on that result?
Absolutely. So Kincade was a group of claims that I brought to the company back in November, and we put on an additional 100 claims to the initial 9 that we staked, and it's a sizable package. And we're actually looking at it from a skarn model to the northern half of this project. It was, we're looking for gold potential, of course. The southern half of the property has been a great surprise, a very positive surprise for us. As you might have seen from our most recent news and from the news previously earlier in the year, we're seeing a lot of copper at surface, a lot of copper staining, some very high grade results, north of 7% in some of our grab samples. And the copper mineralization is running with either high grade gold. I think our highest number is in the 33 grams per ton range, and high silver. And in one case we had north of 55 ounces. So it's exciting. It's early days. We've identified 12 targets so far in the southern half, and we're still lots more work to do. We have a drone mag survey that's planned for later on in this year, and we'll have boots on the ground as of September. And it's early stage exploration work that's required, Gilbert. We're going to be, mapping, soil sampling, and trying to get a sense of why all these targets, what's happening underground, what's that system that's showing all of these and supporting all of these showings at surface.
That would keep you busy for a little bit, but also fresh off from the press is today. You got another thing going on in Trek South. You got starting to work in the IP survey. Maybe you can talk a bit more, and so that's another work in progress for you there. That's
correct, Gilbert. So we have a team. Simcoe Geophysics are arriving, I think, actually tomorrow, next day. They'll be shooting IP on what's called the Trek South target. It's a copper gold porphyry target that is undrill tested. Now it's quite sizable. It's a 1 kilometer, basically 1 by 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer square. It's all the makings of what you would expect to see at surface as an indication of the potential for a copper gold porphyry system. Now, once we shoot IP, which is going to allow us to see the sulfides at depth. I mean, we hope to see somewhere 500-600 meters at depth. If we see continuity all the way through that, that's going to give us a great opportunity to then package these claims up and bring a proper partner forward, because copper porphyries are very expensive to drill out. You can't just put 1 or 2 holes in it and expect there to be a good understanding of what's happening. They're expensive, and we need the right partner to move forward, because we actually have a second copper gold porphyry called the JW, which is also undrill tested. And there are very few of these left in the Golden Triangle. So we're excited. We have a massive land package, over 400 square kilometers of claims. And we're at the southern boundary of the Galore Creek asset. So that's that partnership that's co-owned 50-50 between Newmont and Teck, one of the largest undeveloped copper gold porphyry structures in the world. So we're right along the southern boundary, and some of our claims are within their boundary and some of theirs are within ours. Their access road intersects a number of our claim blocks. We have a lot of work to do this summer, and it's funded. I actually raised the money back in November, so we have a $500,000 program planned, and we'll be executing that between now. Our team landed last night, and we'll be going through till the end of the summer.
So lots of things on the go. Just come back a bit, maybe talk about your company itself. Maybe you can talk a bit more about your team, because you mentioned you joined not too long ago. Who's the key people that you should be highlighting within the team there?
Well, I think the most important person on our team is certainly not me. It's John Bigsock. He's our VP of Exploration. He comes with a very significant resume of experience over 30 years. He actually spent a significant portion of his career working at the Musselwhite mine. So the Musselwhite mine produces 250,000 ounces annually of gold. It's one of Newmont's workhorses, and he was one of the lead geologists at the Musselwhite mine for close to 15 years. So in his work history, there's very few people in the world who understand that greenstone belt better than John Bigsock. Mm-hmm. So we have a very significant land package there. We've had some great successes on the drill bit as well. But again, it's a very large package of land that requires a potential partner to really do it justice. But John couldn't be a better person to be leading our geology team, and he's got a great understanding of porphyry units, so he can apply that knowledge to the work we're doing in the Golden Triangle. And then, quite honestly, it's like a kid in the candy shop walking with him along Kincade, looking at all these former workings, all these former adits and trenches and ditches, and seeing this type of copper gold. I can show this to your viewer. That's copper staining directly out of off the Kincade, and you see how vibrant green that is. We're finding it in piles at the entrances of adits all over the property. So it's quite exciting. That's a bit of a roundabout way of saying that I'm excited to be working with John Bigsock. He's an exceptional geologist. my background is I've been working in this industry for coming on to 20 years. And I've worked in Africa, I've across the continent, I've worked in Southeast Asia most recently, and I'm really excited to be working on North American assets. It's nice not to have to get on a plane and travel for 18 to 24 hours just to get to where you need to be. I'm very pleased to be able to bring my experience and knowledge base to the betterment of Romios Gold.
So let me throw you one last question here. There's a question that I always ask people. Why should investors consider investing into your company right now?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I think that there's the potential of large-scale assets in these major jurisdictions that simply aren't being valued. I mean, we have $3 million worth of cash and securities in the bank right now. Our market cap sits around $7 to $9 million, depending on the day. So just as a pure investment of cash on hand and an asset base, I think our market capitalization is an interesting proposition right now from an investor's perspective. We have a tremendous amount of work completed and to be completed. So there'll be no lack of news flow between now and the end of the year. And we have the means to be able to complete a lot of the work programs as we're presented. So we'll be, as you suggested, we're shooting IP and we have groundwork to do in BC. Our team just came back of 3 weeks in Ontario on the Ontario assets. So we have assay results and surface results to report from there. We'll have the IP team results to come out in August. And then as we move into Nevada, we have a drone mag survey proposed. We're doing some underground 3D work at the former producing SCOSA mine. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of potential, and I'm going to be telling the market exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you when it's done. I'm going to show you the results, and I'm going to keep on moving and building value for the company.
Great. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Stephen, here today.
I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks so much, Gilbert, and to your viewers. If there's ever any interest in the conversation, my phone number and email. My phone number is my mobile, and email is always available. So I welcome any opportunity to engage with your shareholder base.
Great. Thank you for your time.